What up? What up? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right. Let me know if you guys have any questions as we dive in. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer to see if anyone else hops in on the live before we get started. All right, welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. If you have any questions, go ahead and just leave the questions. Why is it looking like this? All right. Welcome to the live channel. This is the Performance Corner specifically for female cops who's struggling with fat loss or struggling to make health and wellness a lifestyle, or create and implement new habits into your life. This is a place where you want to be to help you navigate through those challenges. So a few things that we're going to be talking about, and this is a build upon our last two lives, where we kind of talk about the fundamentals of calories and just identifying what are calories, because you hear so many people use the term so freely, like, yeah, I'm in a calorie deficit, and they don't even know what a calorie deficit is. So today, that's what we're going to be unpacking is calories, but ultimately we're going to dive a little bit deeper into macros, right? And a lot of people, they struggle with understanding what macros are, and they're the proteins, fats, and the carbs in the food, right? So these are your primary source of macros that we're going to be focusing on. And so the goal of this the goal of this live training is that at the end of this training, you can go ahead and look up your own macronutrients and your own calories and implement it into your goals that you're looking to achieve, whether it's fat loss, muscle gain, whatever it is. Okay. So let's just dive right into it. All right. So how does your body actually burn calories? So in the last training, we talked about what are calories. And now I'm going to tap into, like, how do you actually burn calories? And there's three different ways that your body burns calories. The first way is just by being a human organism, just breathing, existing as your heart just, pumps blood. That you're burning calories. And the crazy thing is that the majority amount of calories that you burn daily comes from this, right? It comes from your BMR. So the second way that you burn calories is through your TEF, which is your thermic effect of food. And this is based off your digestive system. So you digesting your food, you're burning calories. And that's the second source of how your body burns calories. Now, the third way is the most common way that everybody knows, and they try to outwork their diet by getting more movement and burning more calories, right? So that's what movement is. And that only takes up 20 to 30% of your calories burnt daily. So those are the three sources on how you can burn calories, right? And together, all three of these equal your total daily energy expenditure, meaning how much energy you expended throughout the day. Now, we can also use the term energy and calories together. So let's just say these numbers, your BMR, your TEF, and your movement, equal the amount of calories that your body has burnt that day. I hope that's making sense. So think about it like this. So if you work a desk job and you're very sedentary, you're probably going to be burning less calories than someone that's maybe a construction worker who's moving and getting a lot more movement in. So as I was saying that, most people, they use the word calorie deficit or calories so freely without truly understanding. And I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with women in law enforcement that's come to me on the call and they're like, yeah, I eat 1,000 calories a day, or whether it's I eat 1,500 calories a day, and I'm like, okay, how did you get those numbers? And they'll tell me, oh, that's just what my friend was on, so I just pretty much followed the same protocol. Or they just say, I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm only eating 1,200 calories because I want to lose weight, right? But it's more to that, right? And that's what I tell individuals. They see things on Instagram and they see a quick 30-second reel and they try to run with that 30-second of information and they try to implement it in their life. And there's missing pieces to the formula. It's not just calories, right? So that's what these trainings is building upon each other, is that so that you can have the full scope and full understanding of how you can achieve your goals. And it's truly just building up that awareness, right? So just because a friend is in 1,500 calories and calorie deficit, and you wanted to lose weight and you hopped on the 1,500 calorie deficit, that number means nothing to you unless you know your maintenance, right? And your maintenance is how do I consume the amount of calories that does absolutely nothing for me, meaning I don't lose weight and I don't gain weight. So your maintenance is how do you maintain the amount of calories it takes for you to maintain your current health, right? So let's dive into that. Your maintenance is built up of 4. I don't know why it says 5, but 5 is supposed to be there, but it's only 4 for your maintenance, right? So how you discover your maintenance number is you're going to need to know, obviously, I'm sure you know your age. Your age, it's a calculator. You can go onto Google and you can type in TDE calculator, just like I expressed right here. So it says all these numbers together are your TDE, your total daily energy expenditure. So you go into a TDE calculator, you could type it into Google, and you put that information that I was just mentioning. You put your age, you put your height, you put your weight, you put your activity level, and then that's going to spit out your maintenance number. From there, the next thing you need to know is what's your goal, right? Once you have that maintenance number, what's the goal? What are you going to do with this maintenance number? Are you looking to burn fat? Are you looking to gain weight? Are you looking to build muscle, right? All this determines your number. So when somebody just gives you a number, don't just take it and run with it, because everybody has their own personal number. And that's based on your age, your height, your weight, your activity level. So, for example, someone can be the same age, same height, and same weight, but if their activity level is different, their maintenance number is going to be different. Now, let's just say their activity level, their height and weight is the same, but their age is different. Well, it's still not going to be the same. Everybody has a personalized maintenance number that's specifically tailored to them, their age, their height, their weight, and activity level. So once you have that maintenance number, identify your goal. What's the goal that you want to do with that number? Are you looking to lose fat, gain weight, build muscle, whatever it is, right? So if you're here and you can actually log into, maybe even use your phone. I want you to go onto Google and I want you to actually find your maintenance number. This is an active, active training that you can actually do this right now and identify what is that number for you, right? So go into Google and type in TDE calculator, and then it's going to ask you these questions: your sex, your age, your height, your weight, and your activity level. Now, for the activity level, this is important because some people, they would consider themselves either very active or very sedentary. So this really is, you really got to be strategic with this, right? So you have to think about it in a way of okay, what's my average? Not what are you doing, not what you did on a good week, but what is your average? Are you more sedentary? So are you a desk worker? And to be honest, a lot of female cops, if you're in a patrol car, if you're not active, proactive out there, or your city's not that busy, you find yourself sitting in a patrol car, driving around a lot. That's a sedentary job. But a good thing is that you can actually switch that up with your profession. You can actually get out and walk. So sedentary is somebody that's an office worker that sits a lot more often than they do anything else, right? Someone that's lightly active is going to be someone that works out at least 1 to 3 days a week, right? So if you're someone that averages 1 to 3 days a week, you're going to be a lightly active person. A lot of individuals fall under this category. Anyone that typically struggles with consistency, or they're struggling with maintaining or trying to do the same thing that they did the following week, but it's not working, like, you're gonna go under lightly active. I don't want you to over edify yourself and say, "Oh, I'm very moderately active." Because if you only go if you go to the gym 3 times this week, and then 1 time the next week, and then 1 time the next week, and then 1 time the next week, I would much rather you get your number. I would much rather be below your numbers than above your numbers. Right? So this is usually the sweet spot, either light active or moderate active. Very active is going to be somebody that's an athlete and somebody that's actually going to practice, working out. So I wouldn't recommend anyone to put very active unless you're actually very active, right? So if you already got that number, we're going to go ahead and continue. From there, you should have gotten your maintenance number. It had spit out a number to you. Once you put your information to the TDE calculator, it's going to spit out a number. So whether that number is maybe 2,000 calories, what that means is that your body is exerting 2,000 calories every single day. That's your maintenance, right? Not exerting. So you should be consuming 2,000 calories every single day, because that's how much your body is expending. So if you're looking to lose weight, that's where calorie deficit comes in. That's where you want to reduce it, right? If you're looking to build muscle, you want to go up in calories about 150 to 250 calories. Most of the individuals that I'm working with are looking to achieve fat loss. So it's, you want to decrease it 300 to 500 calories. For me, I think the sweet spot is 300 calories. If you're looking for a sustainable approach, that's something that you can continue with and not feel over restrictive, 300 calories is a good sweet spot. All right. So once you have the amount of calories that's your maintenance and how much you should be consuming, so let's just say it is 2,000 calories that the TDE calculator spit out you, and you're on a weight loss journey, and you want to do a deficit of 300 calories. So we'll do 2,000 calories minus 300 calories. Now that gives you a deficit of 1,800. So that's going to be the calories. That's going to be your calorie deficit that you're going to be consuming so that you can achieve fat loss. You rocking and rolling with me? Because we're going. This is where it gets challenging for most individuals, is understanding what are macronutrients and how do I take that calorie number of 1,800 and turn it into my macronutrients. How do I take that 1,800 calories? Like, I don't know how much calories is in a protein. I don't know how much in whatever protein it is. I don't know how much, right? So this is where your macros is. So here, I already did the work, and I'm going to show you how to get this number too, right? So this is a high protein formula for you. So this is all equals 100%. 40, 30, 30 equals 100%, right? So of a pie, that's 100%. We're going to split the calories, that's 1,800. We're going to split it into 40% of those calories is going to be protein. 30% is going to be carbs. And then another 30% is going to be fat. Okay. This is not meant for you to, this training is specifically not meant for you to understand on how to do the math for that. I'm going to give you a simpler way to identify how much macros for each you should be consuming. So let me go through this and then I'll show you how you can get yours. So for example, specifically for this example, 1,800 calories a day, right? That's from a deficit of 2,000. Oh wait, it should be 1,700, right? But let's just say for this deficit is 1,800, and we're splitting that 1,800 calories. 40% is going to be protein, 30% is going to be carbs, and 30% is going to be fat. So of the 40%, that's 720 calories from this 1,800 calories. And for the carbs, it's 540 calories of this 1,800 calories. Same thing for fats. It's 540 calories of this 1,800. If you were to add up all these calories, it'll equal 180 calories a day. Now, you have to turn those calories into grams. how much grams of protein I should be consuming, how much grams of carbs, right? And this is where it gets tricky, but don't let me not lose you, because it's very simple. It's a lot more simple than you think, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to open up ChatGPT. We're going to ChatGPT this. You're going to say, hey, ChatGPT, these are my macro numbers. I mean, no, this is how much calories I should be consuming. I should be consuming 1,800 calories. I want to be on a high protein split, right? I want 40% to be protein, 30% carbs, and 30% fat. And it'll spit you these numbers where you don't even have to calculate it yourself. It'll tell you those numbers. And then you take those numbers, and that's how you start tracking your food. An advanced class that I'm going to be, training later on is how to play with these numbers, how to play with these percentages, right? Because think about it, 180 grams of protein is a lot for someone that doesn't really consume protein, right? But that's more of an advanced training, so we're going to keep it very simple today. So based on everything that I just chatted about, I'm going to give you, screenshot this because you're going to want this. Everything I just said, I just compacted it into this one slide. And if you use this one slide, you're going to achieve fat loss. You're going to move in the direction of your goals, right? This is very simple. First thing, as I've expressed, you're going to go to Google. You're going to type in TDEE calculator, which is your total daily energy expenditure. How much calories do you need to be consumed daily so that you can identify which is number 2, your maintenance. What is that maintenance number? Once that calculator spits your maintenance number, you're now going to adjust it based on your goals. You're going to add 200 to 500 calories, or you're going to subtract 200 to 500 calories based on your goals, right? Step 4, once you have that number, you're going to take that number, open up ChatGPT, and tell it, this is how much calories I should be consuming. Give me a macro split of 30, 40, 40. Boom. It's going to spit out that number. Once you have that number, there's a free app where you can track your food, MyFitnessPal. You could go into MyFitnessPal and you put in all these numbers. You can put how much carbs, proteins, and fats you should be consuming. And as you track your food throughout the day, it'll tell you how much remaining of that macronutrient you need to consume. Now, the goal is not to hit it every single day, especially when you're just starting out. And this is where coach and guidance takes place, right? So this is a lot of information coming at you for someone that probably doesn't know much about macronutrients or calories, right? But just understand, if you understand this basic concept, you can get results. However, I highly recommend you getting some guidance and mentorship, because this is not something that's very easy to just go and do. Like, yes, you can go through all these steps, but you're going to hit hurdles and challenges where you're going to need direction from somebody that has been there, done that, and can guide you through that process. For example, some of my clients, getting protein becomes a challenge for them, right? And then next thing you know, when I'm looking at their food, they're eating a whole bunch of protein garbage. So it's like, yes, we need to hit our protein, but we also need quality in food, right? But that's, like I said, that's more of an advanced training. If you subscribe, you're gonna get all this information for free on YouTube. I'm trying to break this down as simple as possible, so that you can understand this and you can implement this and take action for you and your goals, right? So once you have that number, and once you start tracking your food, before you even start the process, I want you to take photos. I want you to take photos, 3 different angles. I want you to take your front, your back, your side. Why? Because you're going to be tracking this. Sometimes if you're building muscle, the scale is not going to change, right? But you're going to see your body your body's going to start changing. You're going to start looking more toned, or you're going to lose inches, right? So the 2 tracking mechanisms that I use, which is photos, the three angles of the photos I just explained, and second is your weight. Those are the 2 forms of tracking, right? Step 7 is repeat every 2 weeks. Repeat this every 2 weeks. And what I mean by that is I want you to be redoing your photos and your scale every 2 weeks, because that's going to tell you that you're moving in the direction that you're supposed to be going, right? And like I said, if this is overwhelming for you, just go ahead and if you can actually, at the end of this training, I'll leave you ways that you can reach out to me and ask me any questions. You can even leave a comment on here, and maybe I'll even make a side video training for you so that you can so I can answer your question, right? And I can make it as simple as possible. So once you have your macronutrients and you have your calories and your numbers, there's 3 phases that I put my clients to. 3 phases. Like people think that just because they have, okay, I'm in a calorie deficit, boom, boom, boom. Okay, you're still not getting results, right? Because there's levels to this. And when you're taking a lifestyle approach, when you find yourself being inconsistent on something that you're trying to achieve, that means the approach that you're taking is not sustainable for the actions that you're doing. Whatever you're doing is not sustainable for you long term, right? So the 3 phases that I put my clients through is 1. Once you have your calorie number and your deficit number, I want you tracking just for awareness. I don't necessarily want you focused on, your protein, your carbs, your fats. I want you to just track your food because I want you to be aware of how much calories you're consuming. So the first phase is just you identifying and understanding the calories. Some people don't even know that they're over consuming in calories. You know how many times being on the job, you stop at Starbucks and you get a muffin here and you get egg bites here and you get a coffee here. All that is probably all the calories you should be consuming in one day, and you're consuming it in one sitting, right? So phase 1 is really important because this is what's going to help you build awareness. For me, I feel like if someone doesn't know, like you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know that you're over consuming, you have no level of awareness. So phase 1, tracking your calories, not worrying about your macros, just becoming more aware of your calories. That's phase 1. All right, let me get a sip of water. Phase 2 is tracking your macronutrients. Phase 2 doesn't necessarily mean you have to hit it. You have to hit your protein. You have to hit your protein. It's tracking your macronutrients to build awareness so that you can use that data that you're collecting and start making better habit changes. Start making a more of a lifestyle approach. So for example, if you notice that you track your food in the awareness stage and you're like, damn, I'm only hitting like 30, 40 grams of protein a day. Well, when you hit phase 2, the goal is to, hit those. Now you have goals on your for protein, macros, protein, carbs, and fats, right? So now you need to start working toward that goal. Like, so, okay, you hit 40 to 60 grams of protein. So maybe the next day you hit 50 grams of protein, and maybe it's just 52, right? The process is just getting better 1%. And that's what I tell my clients all the time. All I need you to do is get better 1%. Because if you get better 1%, you're building an approach that's going to be sustainable. All right, phase 3. Phase 3 is the mastery phase. And I'm going to be honest with you, not everybody gets to this point, right? So the phase 3 is adapting. This is when you can play with your macronutrients. This is when you have more of a lifestyle approach, right? This means that you can go on vacation and still hit your macronutrients. This means that you can, during chaotic shifts or when drive-through is the only option, you can still hit your macronutrients, right? So these are the 3 phases of nutrition that I coach my clients through. It's not just, here's your numbers, do this and do that. No, there's phases to it. And each phase requires a different version of you. It's going to require you to become a different person, a different level of discipline, right? But the whole goal is that you're working in a way that's sustainable and it's not necessarily a second job or overwhelming where you just want to quit. Hope that makes sense. Well, I'm wrapping up this call, this training. So here's a few of my social media platforms. If you want to follow me, I actually have the same profile name, username, whatever you want to call it, throughout my social medias. It's Hit Academy 23. And if you're a female cop and if this sounds like, too overwhelming for you and it's just like, yeah, I'd rather just have someone coach me through this because I don't know what the hell I just listened to, go ahead and there's an application link here. I'm actually going to put it in the description as well. and we can schedule a call. Schedule a call. The consultation's free, where we can sit down and chat and maybe understand like where is it that you're at, and even if this program is in alignment with you, we can talk about what that looks like. But if you're a female cop and you're struggling, it's probably because your approach that you're taking is not necessarily an approach that matches you, your lifestyle, your circumstances. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave it inside the comments. And if I feel like I get enough individuals asking that same question, I'll go ahead and create a whole separate a live training, so that at the end of the day you're achieving your goals, right? Because this could be very simplified. All right, well, it was a pleasure meeting with you, and I'll see you on the next training. It'll be every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, and it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, peace.